Hello there, Larrys. It is I, the vicious scumbag. And across from me,
the Honorable Sensei. And together we are Longturnlarry Podcast.
And it's everyone's favorite homunculus, Vnwxt. We have the verbose host with the most. Generic in a blue for an 04. Start your engines, Commander. You have no max hand size, and once we hit max speed, if you would draw a card, draw 2 instead.
Now this deck is about being fast. The fastest there's ever been. Speed
So
Racer.
I've been playing with the power of the Mach 5. I wanted to see how many cars I could smash with it, and your father tried to stop me before somebody was hurt, and he was right.
So, we have built this deck to draw way too many cards and defeat our opponents. So, first to get that speed up as soon as possible, we are playing 11 one-drop creatures. This gives us a 57% chance in your opening hand to get a one-drop.
That's right. That's mathematically correct, Ryan Seacrest, a.k.a. Vnwxt.
So, most of these one-drops just either have flying or unblockable. There is nothing remotely remarkable about any of these. They might have some slight upside, but they are just here to be in on turn 2, the same turn we play Vnwxt, and we are going to hit speed 2. Outside of our 11 one-drop beaters, we also have our big beaters. This is Silicant Sky Mage and one for Rage. One for what?
Oni Raj? Oni Phage?
I'm gonna call him One for All because that's what he looked like to me. But both of them are flying creatures, and they state whenever you draw a card, put a +1/+1 counter on it. We're gonna draw so many cards. These things are gonna be so big that people are going to get one shot. And before you start going too fast, I need you to like, comment, and subscribe at the Longturnlarry Pit Stop so we can start your engine for your Magic the Gathering journey. Now next, we're talking about ramping in blue, which is quite pathetic if you're not using mana rocks, but we're not.
We don't need those filthy artifacts.
We don't need them. We are going to hit our land drops every turn, and we are going to ramp naturally like a green player. We have Retrace Image, which can put a permanent that is a duplicate of a permanent we already have onto the battlefield. Guess what? We have 28 basic islands. We're going to put an island into play.
That's right. You did know that Ryan Seacrest was an island boy.
He's from Rhode Island.
Oh, my goodness.
Ooh. We also have Meiotic Manipulation that makes us look at the top 7 cards of our library. And if we have an island in our top 7, we can put it directly onto the battlefield. Dousing Dagger's another good one. We have a whole bunch of evasive creatures, so we could just equip the Dousing Dagger, jab somebody in the face, and then we flip it over, and it taps for 3 mana.
Hey! You're talking to my guy all wrong. It's the wrong tone. Do it again, I'll stab you in the face with a soldering iron.
Now, with all this drawing that we're doing, all these lands that we're seeing, we have Walking Atlas to slam those right into the battlefield as well. And Midnight Clock, when it strikes 12, don't call the police, but we are drawing 14 cards when Vnwxt is at max speed.
When Ryan Seacrest has achieved terminal velocity, Midnight Clock shall double. Of course, we're also going to be rocking some very nasty and beautiful utility and stacks. So, of course, we got to reference these wonderful non-basic lands. We have Amonkhet Raceway, Maragonda Raceway, Mystic Sanctuary, Reliquary Tower, Rivendell, Rogue's Passage, and Temple of the False God. These utility lands are all doing something very unique. A couple of them are dupes, but Honorable had a very unique play with a couple of these lands.
So, Maragonda Raceway, we're playing a max speed deck. This is just Temple of False God number 2.
You like
after turn 4.
You like the first one? Here's the sequel.
Here's the second one. Temple of the False God. Are you playing open lands so you can statistically play Temple of the False God? We're playing all our land drops every single day because we're drawing like 8 cards a turn. Of course, we're always going to be valid on that Temple of the False God. We don't even have to play it early. You telling me you ain't got an island in your hand?
Hey, it's okay. We can validate our parking. Temple of the False Gods will come around.
Reliquary Tower, come on. If you're drawing 36 cards a turn, sometimes they're going to kill your Vnwxt. Your hand is safe with the Reliquary Tower. Mystic Sanctuary is easily abused. Rogue's Passage is easily abused. And finally, that Elixir Immortality, maybe you was drinking a little bit too much. You drew too many cards. Elixir Immortality is there to save your ass.
That's right. You too can be like the beast if you're not beautiful. Keep that rose in the glass. Next, we have our gross, close to my heart, scumbag favorites. These are stacks pieces.
Move this man!
If you're not familiar, these are the things that make everyone go, are you kidding me? Really? You'd play that right now? These are going to be our cards that are going to kind of be one-sided in our examples here. So we have Winter Moon, Back to Basics, and Harbinger of the Seas. These are all doing very similar effects here. Now, Winter Moon is just saying you can only untap no more than 1 non-basic. Back to Basics is then saying your non-basics don't untap. And then Harbinger just turns your non-basics into islands. The point of these 3 is we're rocking 28 basics and the deck is mono blue. If anything, oh no, our Reliquary Tower got turned into an island. It's not that big of a deal. It may slow us down because these are tempo. This is a tempo play. But the other opponents who you're technically, mono blue blood mooning, they're going to feel it much harder than you are. So these are very simple early plays. If you have 2 basics out and play Winter Moon, you're going to mess up the tricolor players and the dual colors and higher. They're going to be screaming for this to end. Up next, we have our Longturnlarrys.
These are the cards that are going to put your opponents in submission and likely win you the game. First, we have Prof's Eidetic Memory. When it enters the battlefield, you're going to draw a card, which is really going to be 2 cards. You have no max hand size for like the 5th time. And at the beginning of your combat, if you draw more than 1 card this turn, which you definitely will, put X +1/+1 counters on target creature you control, where X is the number of cards you've drawn, -1. Now, when you've wheeled twice and you've had 18 cards the first time, and then you drew 36 the second time, something is about to one-shot somebody. That's what this card's for. It can turn any of our innocent little 1/1s into death. With that same statement, we have Nerd Rage. If you have 10 or more cards in your hand, when you go to combat, this creature is going to give +10/+10. That's insane. It also draws 2 cards, which is really going to be 4.
Oh, you know what else is really good? It gives us no max hand size. Oh, I'm so glad that we got that.
Really need that.
The Nerd Rage is also powerful, but you know what else is wonderful? Getting things for free. We have As Foretold and Yeluge, the Shoreless Sea. These are going to be filling the same thing, and that is we like free stuff. And we're also kind of stacksy, and we want this. It's like pseudo rampy. The fact that we can just get all of our stuff for free, and the amount of things that are 1 drops and 2 drops, the whole curve of this deck is sub 4. It is the bulk is under 4 mana. So As Foretold and Yeluge are going to be giving us free stuff very soon. We don't have to wait for either of them to be able to provide a massive amount of benefit.
Psychosis Crawler. Oh, what is there to say? If Psychosis Crawler out, if you've drawn 40 cards, which isn't hard to do in this deck, all your opponents just die.
Yeah.
They're
Sit
just
back.
dead. And then 20-Toed Toad, probably the GOAT of all our Larrys here. Remember that land that I was talking about? Wnwxt Raceway? It's very easy for us to have 20 cards. We can literally just play 20-Toed Toad, give it haste, and win on the exact turn that we played it.
That sounds like frog magic.
That sounds like fraud.
Oh no. The IRS doesn't want you to know these frog secrets.
And neither does Teferi Temporal's Pilgrim. The static on him is every time you draw a card, put a loyalty counter on Teferi. And then his +0, draw a card, which is going to be 2 cards for us.
Ooh.
His -2 makes a 2/2 that gets bigger for the amount of cards that we've drawn. And then the -12 might as well be Cyclonic Rifting 1 person.
Hey, the fact that we're going to be making more of our big beaters in the fact that these are going to be free from good old Teferi. Thank you. Yes, please. I'll have another.
And we're getting to the last 2, the most important things you do as a blue mage. Draw cards and saying fuck you to your friends.
Oh, hell no! Hell no!
We have plenty of cantrips here. Brainstorm, Consider, Gitaxian Pro, let me see your hand. Peek, let me see your hand. Op, Serum Visions. We're not short for any of these. The key cards that I sort of want to point out to you, 4 of these are creatures. Duelist of the Mind. He gets bigger the more cards you draw on that turn, and whenever you commit a crime or fuck you to your friends, you get to draw 2 cards, then discard a card. Fairy Mastermind. If you thought about drawing cards, I'm drawing more. Give me that. Ledger Shredder triggers on our opponent's turns all the time. And then the GOAT, the Whirlpool Rider. I didn't even know this card even existed. When he comes into play, you just shuffle your hand into your library and then draw that many cards.
Shout outs to the unsung merfolk hero. May his stinky fish hands forever be true.
And then, of course, we're playing all these small and evasive beaters. We have Bident Athasa and Reconnaissance Mission. Every time we smack, we get to draw some cards.
Oh!
And we're playing plenty of Windfall of Flex, Flow of Knowledge, Flow of Ideas. Both draws cards for the amount of islands we have. Even better, we got a stacks piece out. Just ridiculous amount of card draw either way you look at it.
To give a shout out to Flow of Ideas, it costs 6. If you had no reduction, that means you'd have 6 islands. That means you'd be drawing 12 cards. This is a fantastic draw effect. Gotta have a shout out to Treasure Cruise. You know what it is. It wouldn't be perfect without it. And of course, in interaction magic, we wouldn't be a mono blue deck if we weren't saying, no, you can't play that. Stop! So here is our wonderful counter spells. We have an offer you can't refuse.
You can't!
Swan Song. As Birdman's favorite.
Put some respect on my name. You understand me?
Arcane Denial. Negate. Remand. Then, of course, we have 2 freebies with Flare of Denial and Foil. And we couldn't go without our favorite spot removal, Pongify and Rapid Hybridization. And then we're rocking some Return to Hand because blue is limited. So we have Snap, Sink into Stupor, and Aetherize with Spectral Deluge. These, of course, Aetherize and Spectral are more board-wide, while the other ones are going to be more specific targeted removal.
And that's it. That's the fastest deck tech you've ever seen on Longturnlarry. Now, right now, this deck is considered a bracket 4 because we're playing those 3 stack pieces. If you wanted to reduce the power level of this deck, not really, but reduce the power level of the deck, you could just remove those and add whatever you want. You could also power this up by playing Cyclonic Rift and Rhystic Study, Mystic Remora. You would do whatever you want, but here is the base of what this deck is looking like.
And if you'd like to see more deck techs like these, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know how you felt about Ryan Seacrest being your next mono blue commander. I am the Vicious Scumbag.
And I am your honorable sensei, and together we are Longturnlarry
Podcast.
Host